Hey everyone, Richard Metalfan here, continuing the Iron Maiden discography, and you probably guessed what we're talking about right now. I'm sorry guys, I just had to do that. But yeah, in all seriousness, we're gonna be reviewing Iron Maiden's fifth album, Powerslave. Now, was originally going to planning on reviewing this when it hit the 35th anniversary, which is going to be on September 3rd. But since I'm reviewing all their albums leading up to when I see them on July 20th, I figured I'll just review their entire discography just to get it out there, including this one. Now, Powerslave, like, I honestly consider this my favorite Iron Maiden album, period. And this is pretty much where I became a fan of the band when I was like 12, 13 years old. And here's my story behind this album, how I became a fan. I was probably around 2006, maybe 2007. I remember seeing the Live After Death concert video because from my dad. My dad's pretty much the reason why I'm into metal and got me into all the 80s stuff that I like. And then he showed me the Live After Death video, and which around the time was when they were touring in support of Powerslave. And I remember hearing the song at Aces High, which pretty much, and then saw the band, I was like, whoa, what is this? And then I checked out this album, and I was like, all right, and all their other albums, and pretty much this is pretty much where I became a fan of the band. Of course, this is a follow-up to their last album, which came out a year before, 1983, Peace of Mind, which is pretty good, but I feel like Powerslave just takes it by another step. Like, musicianship is great, the songwriting is beyond perfect, everything is just really great. Great. It sort of like combine sort of like just, I don't know, just fantasy and power of emotion, just all wrapped up into one. And pretty much here we get to this. But yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this track by track. Now, starting off this album is one of my opinion, one of Iron Maiden's greatest openers, Aces High. The song is another one of Iron Maiden's combat songs, akin to kind of like Invaders from Number of the Beast or Trooper from Peace of Mind. And I feel like Aces High describes the British defense against the German bombers during World War II. And especially like during like the live songs, they would have Winston Churchill, I believe his name, like doing that quote saying, "We shall go on to the end, we shall go forth," or something like that, I don't know. But I mean, the song itself is pretty simple but effective. Like, catchy riffs and the sing-along choruses and the solo from both Dave Murray and Adrian Smith make this a very excellent track. And I just love like the one riff that just very fast, just like gets your heart pumping. And the next song on here is 2 Minutes to Midnight, and this was actually the second single off this album. And it's another song with a very catchy chorus and interesting, well-written lyrics that have references to like the doomsday clock and the horrors of nuclear age. And this song also comments on corrupt politicians who rather wage war than to help their country. And this song closes out at about 6 minutes with a chilling line like "midnight all night." Like Bruce is pretty much a great vocalist right here. And then following that is the song "Lost for Words, Big Aura." It's just actually the last instrumental track in Iron Maiden's career, and here, but it's very, the song can be kind of fairly repetitive at first, but excuse me, but it's constant enough to keep you interested. And this song, well, obviously the title hint sets, I believe Steve, which actually he wrote the song, may have attempted to write lyrics for the song, but sort of like ran into a little writer's block. But stacking up against Iron Maiden's other instrumentals, it's just a very powerful track, and I really wish Iron Maiden would do more instrumentals because I feel like this is a great one, and they haven't, it's been like 35 years now, and they haven't made an instrumental since then. But then, of course, after that ends, we go into Flash of the Blade, which in my opinion is a heavily underrated song and one that I don't think that has never been played live. It is an excellent song, which is of course written by Bruce Dickinson, which is based on his passion for fencing. It starts with a simple but effective riff repeated several times throughout the song. But unfortunately, this song doesn't even contain a solo from either Adrian or Dave, but has a brilliant harmony section about halfway through, which makes up for it. It kind of similar to Flash of the Blade. The next song on here is The Duelist, which is lyrically is another song about sword fighting, hence the title. It is another underrated song in my opinion. Like, The Duelist has never been played live ever, though is very well written musically and lyrically. And honestly, this when I first heard it, I thought it was lacking something that the all-time great Iron Maiden songs have. But of course, eventually it grew on me. Well, I don't know why I didn't like it. It was just surprising, as the instrumental section of the song is very well played. But yeah, and then following that is Back in the Village, which is yet another song based off of a show called The Prisoner, which is a British TV show following from Mexico in the 60s. And I feel like feels like kind of be a continuation of The Prisoner, from Number of the Beast, which I feel like at the end of the predecessor, like the protagonist escapes the village and it seems to have found his way back. And the introduction is kind of similar to that of Flash the Blade, but kind of like faster. And the chorus can be repeated quite a bit, which may irk some listeners, but it doesn't bother me. And then it sort of like ends with some very spooky noises and a haunting laugh, which leads up to a little drum fill, which goes into the title track of the album, Powerslave, which starts off with a powerful, heavy Egyptian-like riff. Sorry, I had to do that again. And Bruce Dickinson aptly describes an ancient Egyptian pharaoh, his realization that he is someday going to die and his unwillingness to let go of this power, thus Powerslave. While the lyrics it has some really great lyrics, and I really like the instrumental section of the song, and this is without a doubt the highlight of the album. At around like the 2.5 minutes, the chorus fades out and the music gets softer, following like a short bass piece from Steve Harris, and there's some really great, amazing solos by Dave and Adrian, and then Dave again. And Dave's first solo is quite slower and quite relaxing, and then it picks up the pace with a heavier, faster solo that leads into an instrumental section, which is lyrics succeeded by Dave's second solo. And a lot like Adrian's, this solo is quick and is the climax of the song. And as the solo ends, the song reverts back to its main riff and closes out with the lyrics about the mummy's curse, a popular myth in like the 20th century. And then the final song on the album is none other than Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which was the longest song that Iron Maiden has written for nearly 30 years, up until, of course, Empire of the Clouds from Book of Souls, which the song Rime of the Ancient Mariner is based on an old poem by the same name. And Iron Maiden takes you on a wild adventure through this song, and this song is literally like about 13 minutes long. It takes you on a wild adventure, which Bruce describes in sort of like live shows, what not to do if a bird shits on you. And it goes like neck to neck with Powerslave for the best song on the album, and I would rate it in the top 5 of Iron Maiden's career. The music is consistent enough throughout the song, and the poem's lines are recreated by Steve quite well. And I like the song, like where it kind of like drops down slowly, probably around 4 or 5 minutes or so. 3 or 4, might have been 3 or 4 minutes, I don't know. No, it has like a simple bass line played over, which has like the poem is like going into there, and then right then it sort of like picks back up, and then Bruce sort of like picks up it again. And I feel like this piece is very long enough. It just has some really fantastic vocals from Bruce in there, and then some really great solos, and crowning achievement for Iron Maiden. Now overall, Powerslave is a really great album, and of course following that they embarked on their longest tour ever in their career, the World Slavery Tour, which honestly kind of like broke the band, which and some of the histories they would kind of change after this, but not drastically, so you'd be like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, so if I were to give this a score, I'm going to give this Powerslave by Iron Maiden a 10 out of 10. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, see you all in the next video, and as always, keep it metal.